Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Raleigh, and I'm going to do something a little bit different here right now. I am going to participate in a Twitter chat via video because unfortunately I was not able to make it home in time for EdBeat. I was really looking forward to this chat. I've had it in my calendar for a while and was really hoping to be able to participate, but unfortunately my meeting schedule and this lovely Denver traffic is prohibiting me from doing so. So I thought, well, if I can't participate in the chat, at least maybe I could do some processing and some learning of my own by answering the questions via video rather than being really bad and trying to do a Twitter chat while I'm driving, which I would never do because that's really just, it's unsafe, especially in this traffic. So I'm going to answer the questions that are being posed in the chat via video. The benefit of this is that I do not have to keep my answers to 140 characters, but I am going to try to keep them a little bit concise. So you'll see the video sort of stopping and starting because I'm going to edit these clips together. The first question was, what does it mean to wonder? And I think that that in itself is such a great question. I think that to wonder means to dream and to inquire and to challenge the status quo, to challenge your own thinking and other people's thinking, and to really think outside the box and to just imagine and not feel constrained by either limitations that other people might be placing on things, limitations that structures have placed on things, and systems and processes, but also limitations that you yourself might place on your thinking or your ideas. So I think to wonder means to just let all of that fall away and to really just go beyond all of that and to go to a place that can really be pretty exciting and new and different. So I think it's an important skill to foster in our students, to allow them to wonder, to really encourage that. But I think it's also just as important that we as adults wonder, that we get a chance to dream and to think in that way, both professionally as well as personally. Question 2 is, what is the difference, if any, between questioning and wondering? I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is that questions often have very black or white sort of answers, very definitive answers. I can ask, what is 2 + 2? And there is an answer for that. I can ask a question about a scientific process, or a question about math, or a question about, even grammar or writing, or, why do we put a period at the end of a sentence? Like, I think kids and adults both can ask questions that have answers that become, depending on your depth of knowledge, that there is somebody who can very quickly answer that question for you, or maybe not quickly, but at least has it within their immediate grasp, I guess, to be able to answer a question. So I think a question is something that can be answered readily by somebody who has expertise in that area or that topic. I think the difference between that and wondering is that oftentimes the things that you might wonder, something you might pose as a wondering, which I know that technically wondering is not a word. It's something that we educators use a lot. I always used to tell my kids, what are your wonderings? And then they always used to tell me, Mrs. Raleigh, when I type wonderings on my Chromebook, it says it's not spelled right. It says it's not a word. Yes, children, I know. But I think that a wondering is something that doesn't necessarily have an answer right away. I think it's something that might not even have an answer at all yet. A wondering can be something that is really requiring a deep amount of thinking and processing, and in whatever way you do that. But I think it's almost sometimes like you're posing a problem that needs to be solved, but that doesn't have a solution yet. So I think a wondering is really exciting in that way because there isn't one right or wrong answer. And there are often questions too that don't have a right or wrong answer. But I think that a wondering is something that you can just sort of go as far as you would like with a wondering, and you can take it to so many different places. And maybe that's why I used to always love posing wonderings to my kids and having them ask their wonderings, is because every single student could access that. I could say, I always used to start my units with wonderings actually, and so we would chart all of the wonderings that we had about a particular topic. I usually never planned my whole unit until I had done some of these activities with my kids, and so I would say, what do you wonder about the regions of the United States? Or what do you wonder about geometry? I would give them just enough content knowledge or background information to go on to ask their wonderings, but not enough that they would have any idea exactly what we needed to study or cover or whatever. And so it was always really fun to chart those things and to hear what they wondered. And they used to come up with so much better questions than I ever could that we could answer and that we could investigate and explore together. So I think that's one of the things that's really powerful about wonderings. Question 3 is, what do you wonder? Oh my gosh, I cannot possibly answer this in 140 characters or in this video. I will run out of space on my phone way before I can share all of the things that I wonder. So I'm going to try to boil it down to generalizations. I often wonder about things that are broken in education. I often wonder about things that we could do differently in education. I often wonder how we can make the day-to-day and the long-term experiences of students and teachers so much better than they are right now. And I often wonder a lot of things about sort of ideals. So I am a very sort of idealistic person. I've always been like that. I've always been somebody who has a very specific, not way that I want things to be done, but I have strong morals and beliefs, I suppose. And I often wonder a lot of different things about how we can sort of make the world a better place, for lack of a better way of stating it, just by the smaller contributions that we can make in the world. And so I am always wondering how I can be a better person and how I can be a better learner, how I can be a better wife or a better friend or a better employee. I'm often wondering how I can do my job better, but I am also a lot of times wondering, like, how do I leave a really good positive impact on this world? How do I sort of navigate my life and my path and my journey in a way that I will feel proud of it, but that more than that, it will be something of meaning and it will be something of importance.